it is time for another Cooking with a Message, and I have a special one for you today. So good. After having this recipe, I can't go to any other store bought, boxed, or anything like that. After you've had this homemade from scratch, you'll never want to go to a boxed kind or a store-bought kind ever again. But before we get into that, let's talk. So I'm in Proverbs 22, and I'm going to read just one verse. And it says, this is verse 6, train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. That's it. That's the verse. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. So this has been a super eventful week. So I'm actually making this, today is April 8th, but this is not going to air till April 16th. But in this week, a lot has happened. So on Easter Sunday, my daughter got engaged. So yay! And then yesterday, April 7th, my niece gave birth to her second child, a little girl, and they named her Ruby. Ruby was my mom's name, so that is just like, oh, I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to hold her and give her a kiss and just see her face. So a lot has happened in this last week, but it got me thinking about my daughter. Actually, what got me going on this is my daughter, and thinking about her upcoming wedding. And we knew this was coming, and so we've been doing a little bit of planning and preparing for her wedding. And I started thinking over when she graduated from high school. And when she graduated from high school, I was like, oh my gosh, girl, when you get married, this is going to be a nightmare. Because girls and planning and preparations and pretties and yada, 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 I was like, if it takes this much work to plan and decorate and prepare for my daughter's high school graduation, what's it going to be like when she gets married? So yeah, here we are. And it's kind of crazy. But let me tell you something that I did for my daughter when she graduated from high school. I'm going to show it to you. Do you know what this is? Some of you might know what this is. It's an angel food cake pan. It's an angel food cake pan. That's what we're going to make today, is angel food cake. Well, when I first met my mother-in-law, she makes angel food cake from scratch. I'd never had angel food cake from scratch, at least not like hers. Let's just say I cannot eat angel food cake from a store. I cannot eat it from a box. It just doesn't taste right. I have to use my mother-in-law's angel food cake recipe. Well, my daughter loves angel food cake. So for her high school graduation, she wanted angel food cake. So I ended up making 12, count them, 12 angel food cakes. This pan has been used a lot to make angel food cake. So that's what we're going to make today. But it brought back such memories of me thinking about getting ready for her high school graduation and now getting ready for her wedding. And she wants me to make her cake for her wedding. And no, it's not going to be angel food cake. She has a problem with sugar now, so she can't have regular sugar. As you know, I've made several recipes for her. And so I haven't made angel food cake with her sugar. I don't know if it would work out. And she's not home, so I'm not going to make it for her. So, but when she comes home, I might try making one for her just to see if it works. But it got me thinking about her and all the things going on in her life and how much I love her and how much I love this recipe. And when we think about our children growing up, we want the best for them. We want the absolute best for our children. And when we see them grow up and become the people that God has designed them to be and you see what they're doing in their lives, and you just know that Proverbs 22:6 is true, that if you train them up in the way of God, they won't depart from it. If you truly leave them in God's hands, they won't depart from it. They may wander, but they'll never truly depart from God's path. And you just have to trust, and you have to pray for them. I pray for my kids all the time, every day, several times a day. I'm praying for my kids. And so you never give that up. And so I want to make angel food cake, and let me tell you, it's a process. So I'm going to be starting and stopping the video quite a bit. If you do not have an angel food cake pan like this, I had never seen one like this till I met my mother-in-law. Usually they come in the round ones, and then it has an insert that comes out. It looks like a bundt pan, but the insert comes out. I don't have one of those. This is what I have. When I was growing up, that's what we had the angel food pan that had the center, the circle one that had the center that came out. So if you have one of those, that will work just fine. But this is my pan, and so we're going to get into it. So I'm going to go through what you need here first. So I have a cup and a half of egg whites. Now, I did not throw away the yolks. I'm going to make something with that later. And then you're going to need salt, cream of tartar, vanilla. And my recipe says to use clear vanilla, but I just use regular vanilla because that's what I have. And almond extract, and then sugar, of course. And then this is the biggie. You cannot use A&P flour. You have to use cake flour. It says right there on the package, cake flour. Something about it, it works the best. You cannot use all-purpose flour. You cannot. So you can if you want to, but it won't turn out quite the same. So just trust me on this. Use this. Okay, so you also need to have a sifter. Now, if you don't have a sifter, you can use a strainer, the metal wire strainer. You can use one of those. But I have a sifter. You're going to be doing lots of sifting. So I'm going to get started. The other thing you need is lots of bowls. Lots and lots and lots of bowls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to just sift out. I'm going to put some flour in my sifter, and I'm going to sift out some flour, and I'm not measuring it yet. So I'm going to sift this out, and then I'm going to measure it. And I need, make sure I have it right, 1.5 cups of sifted flour. So I sift this first, get it all broken up here, and then in my bowl, my other bowl, I'm going to measure out 1.5 cups. 1.5 cups of flour. Put that in there. And I'm going to use a knife to level it off and pour that in there. And then I need just 1/2 cup more. Of flour. So I'm going to get this done. I'll be right back. Okay, so literally I measured out perfectly. I did not have any flour left over. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sift together this flour that I just measured and sifted. I've got 1.5 cups. And I'm going to take this flour and put it back into my sifter. And I put my sifter in the bowl, and I'm going to very carefully put this right back into my sifter. And then to this, I'm also going to add 1/3 cup of sugar, just regular sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sift this 3 times. So I've got my 1.5 cups of sugar in here, and I've measured out in here 1/3 cup of sugar, and that's going straight into my sifter. And now I'm going to sift the 1.5 cups of flour, of my cake flour, and my 1/3 cup of sugar, and I'm going to sift this 3 times. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got that sifted 3 times. Three times. I'm going to set this aside, and now I have my sifter again, and I have 2 small bowls, and I have a cup and a third of sugar, and I'm going to put that right into my sifter. And I'm only going to sift this once, but this is to get out any chunks. You know, sugar can get kind of chunky. There's a few chunks here. So I'm going to sift this 1 time, and I'm going to keep it separate from my flour and sugar mixture. This is going to just stay all by itself here for this little bit. And I have little chunks in my sugar in my sifter, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my mixer. And in my mixer, I'm going to add my 1.5 cups of egg whites. Now this is about a dozen eggs. Depending on the size of your eggs, you might need a little bit more eggs. But like I said, don't throw those yolks away. You can make custard or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on high just until it's frothy. I don't want them hard. I just want them frothy. So I'll be right back. Okay, my eggs are frothy. Do you see that? They are frothy. So now I'm going to add a few things to my eggs. So I'm going to add, turn my thing over. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt right into my eggs here. And I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar, and that goes right in. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And the recipe calls for clear vanilla, but I just use regular vanilla. It doesn't make that much difference. At least I don't think so. And then 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and I want the egg whites to become stiff but not dry. I want there to be peaks, but I don't want my egg whites to be dry. So I'm going to turn this on. You're going to have to turn it on really high to get those frothy, and you're going to want to have a beater like this one to do it. It works the best. So I'm going to get this done, and I'll let you see it when it gets to that stiff peak form, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so you're ready to see it with the egg whites kind of stiff but not dry. So that's what they look like right there. And so now to this, I'm going to add the sugar, just the sugar, not the flour mixture. I'm going to add that straight in, and I'm going to turn this on low and let it beat for about a minute on low. And then I'm going to scrape down the sides, just on low, and then I'm going to scrape down the sides, and I'm going to let it beat 1 more minute. Okay, so I'm going to let it do that, let it go on low for about a minute, and then I'm going to take a spatula, scrape down the sides, and let it beat for about another minute on low, and then you'll see what's next. Okay, so I added the sugar, I let it beat for a minute, scrape down the sides, let it beat for another minute. Now I'm going to turn it on high for about 5 seconds. Okay, that's that part. So now I'm going to take this thing off. If I can get it off. Come on, baby. Give me a second here. Okay, silly thing wouldn't come off. All right, so now you need your rubber spatula, and you're going to want to take this straight off of your mixer. So now I'm going to take my flour and sugar mixture, and I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of this to the egg white mixture, and I'm going to fold it in. And I'm going to do this until all of the flour and sugar is incorporated in. And you want to do this very carefully so you don't break down the egg whites. So folding is you just take and go around the sides and just mix it in. And then you're going to want to go in the middle a little bit, incorporate it, make sure you don't have any flour chunks in there, but it's just very light. You're not stirring, you're not beating, you're folding. So you want to keep doing that till you get all the flour and sugar mixed in. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Okay, I got all of the flour and sugar folded in, and that's what it looks like right there. It looks like whipped cream, but it doesn't taste like whipped cream. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my angel food cake pan, and this is not greased. Do not grease the pan, and it always seems kind of weird. Why wouldn't you grease it? You have eggs. Aren't they going to stick? I always think the crumbles or the stuff that you scrape off the side after you bake it, let it harden. I don't know which is better, the cake or the crumbs from the side. So good. So I'm just going to get this scraped out here, and then I'll show you what I do with my pan. So I have my oven set at 375. Got it preheated, ready to go. And so now I'm just going to take and scrape this off right into my pan. My hands are clean. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to just spread it around this way. Okay? So I'm just using my spatula almost like a knife. And that actually spreads the angel food batter around in your pan. And it's ready to go. And you're going to see that there's little peaks in your angel food. So there it is right there. So it's ready to go in the oven. 35 minutes, 375 degrees. I'll let you see it when it comes out. Okay, are you ready to see this beauty? Are you ready? It's very hot. It just came out of the oven. Look at that. And it smells amazing. Okay, so now this is very interesting about an angel food cake. So now you just take it and turn it upside down. Don't do anything to it. Just turn it upside down and just let it sit there, just like that, for an hour. Let it sit there for an hour. Now, when I was a kid and we had the circle one with the insert, we would turn it upside down, and it didn't, this cake pan, I don't know if you saw this. Let me see if I can get it off the counter here. This cake pan's got little ledges there. You see that little ledge? So it's got legs to sit on. But I have another pan that's just like this that doesn't have the legs. So we just turn it upside down on a couple of books or something so that there's air that gets in underneath it. Well, for a round one that we had when we were a kid, we would take a bottle, like a pop bottle or a glass ketchup bottle. It needs to be glass. Don't use plastic because it'll melt. You can use like a Worcestershire bottle or a soy sauce bottle and stick the bottle in the center and turn the pan over upside down on top of the bottle. And just let it sit there for about an hour. And when the hour's up, you're going to take a knife and cut around it, turn it back over, and then you're just going to hit the bottom, and it'll just pop right out. Yeah, it'll just pop right out. Now, if you have the circle one, you're going to want to cut around the sides, and then where the insert comes out, you're going to want to slide. There's like a ledge, and you're going to want to get in underneath that ledge and go all the way around. It's got a circle. You're going to see it go around, and it'll pop out. When that pops out, then you're going to take your knife and cut around to take that center out. And then your cake is ready to eat. Now, what do you eat it with? Well, you can just eat it plain because it's so darn good, or strawberries and whipped cream. Oh, baby. All right, you guys have a great one. I'll take a picture of this when I get it out so you can see it. It's super yummy. You'll never go back to store-bought. You'll never go buy the boxed angel food cake ever again. If you make this, you're done. It's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. You guys have a great day, and praise God for our children. Bye.